Today I'm going to teach you how to make a recipe on My Macros Plus using the Macros Inc. recipe cheat sheet. I'm making a crock-pot Cuban beef, and listed below are all of the ingredients that I'm going to need to weigh out and either add as custom entries or using the Macros Inc. branded food list. The first item is my roast, which doesn't have protein, carbs, and fats listed on the label, so I'm going to use my Macros Inc. pre-approved branded food list to enter this item. Hit the top left-hand button, by brand, Macros Inc., and then scroll until you find your food item. Hit the star on the top right-hand corner. That will add it to your custom foods. When you back to the original menu, you hit customs and faves and scroll, and you will see that item is now in your customs and faves. Once all of my items have been added to the customs and faves section, I'm going to start weighing each ingredient in my recipe and adding the numbers to my recipe cheat sheet. So my roast was 1,811 grams, so I'm going to write that down and do the same for every other ingredient on the list until I have a full list of all ingredients and the weights for each of them. Next, I'm going to add my ingredients into my crock pot, and while they're cooking, I'm going to go back to My Macros Plus and start to build my recipe. Menu button, recipes, create new recipe, and then start by adding in the name of your recipe in the top section. You're also going to want to add in the date that you're making this particular recipe, because every single time that you do it, you may have slightly different weights for each ingredient. So these calories, these macros are only going to apply to this particular batch. So that's why we put the date in. I'm going to leave it as one serving and then start adding each ingredient. So all of my ingredients have already been added to my Macros Plus database as custom entries. So now all I have to do is go into my customs and faves and click each of the ingredients that was on my recipe cheat sheet list. Once I have all of my ingredients added into the recipe, I'm going to go in and individually type in the weight for each of those ingredients. So each of them comes up as 1 gram. So now I'm going to go back to my recipe cheat sheet, look at the weights that I had listed for each item, and then adjust them in my recipe on the app. Once each ingredient weight has been added, you'll be able to scroll down and see the total calories and the total macros for the entire recipe. Now that my recipe is done cooking, I'm going to reweigh the entire recipe, since the weight pre-cooked versus the weight after being cooked is going to be different. You'll notice here that my weight after being cooked is 1,621. But when I go back to my recipe cheat sheet and look at all the ingredients added up, the pre-cooked weight would have been 2,568. So I'm going to go back to my app and adjust my recipe. Go back to your recipe. Click the edit button in the top right-hand corner, and you're going to adjust your total servings and your serving name. Under total servings, you want to type in the weight after cooking, and then under serving name, you're going to hit grams, because the total weight of the entire recipe, once it was done, was 1,621 grams. Once it's been adjusted, I'm going to now serve up my portion and adjust it in My Macros Plus to add it to my daily food journal. So I weighed out my portion. It is 143 grams here on this food scale. And now I'm going to go back into My Macros Plus and add it to my daily food log. Hit the menu button in the top left-hand corner, click Recipes, and then click on Your Recipe. In the blue section where it says 1 gram, you're going to type in the number of grams that you weighed out for your individual portion. You're going to hit Save and Add as single item. That will put it into your food log for the day. When you click inside your food log on that particular item, you're going to see the exact protein, carbs, and fats, as well as the calories for that exact serving of that recipe.